Welcome to Higher Level Gaming. Today we're doing something a little bit different because Stan Lee has passed away. He was a true living legend and icon. Stan Lee was the prolific publisher of Marvel and the father of many of the most popular modern superheroes. We decided to take the time to write up a video all about Mr. Lee in dedication to the immeasurable contribution he made not only to comics but by extension television, video games, movies, and the entire world.
Lee started off as an assistant at Timely Comics in 1939 and had his first assignment as a text filler in Captain America Comics number 3 in 1941. Timely Comics would later become the world-famous Marvel Comics. Stan co-created the character Destroyer and Jack Frost in 1941 for Timely, and from this creative debut, he went on to become interim editor. During this time, alongside illustrator Jack Kirby, he would establish some of the most well-known comic book heroes: the Fantastic Four, Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, and Spider-Man, just to name a few. By 1972, Mr. Lee became publisher for Marvel Comics.
Stan Lee helped revolutionize superheroes during Marvel's golden age. He gave characters a certain relatability and complexity that wasn't seen in comic books before. He also refined the collaborative process of comic writing, where a writer details a story, has an illustrator plot it out, then comes in and fills in the story bubbles. He perfected the method to the point that it's now known simply as the Marvel method. Stan originally began writing comics under the pseudonym Stan Lee as opposed to using his birth name because he always aspired to be a more serious writer. He would instead take those themes into the realm of comic book superheroes. He helped to make comics something for kids and adults alike by giving his characters flaws and real-life problems.
No longer were superheroes infallible or morally perfect. They became more like real people, and that definitely made characters like Spider-Man and Iron Man as popular and beloved as they are today.
In our modern world, everyone loves comic book heroes, and everyone has a favorite superhero. The biggest movies of the year that bring us all together as a culture are superhero movies. All of that and so much more wouldn't have been possible without Stan Lee's life work at Marvel. Movie and comic industry leaders and people from all walks of life that were touched by Mr. Lee's influence reached out online to give respect to his memory and his family today on the internet. Last year, Stan's wife of 70 years, Joan Lee, passed away. Since then, there was a noted decline in Stan's health, and multiple controversies have surrounded the famous comic book icon. Again, unfortunately, during this time of mourning, many have also taken to social media to express sentiments of hate, making statements condemning the recently departed Stan Lee. It's well known that there was a dispute between Jack Kirby, fellow legendary comic icon, and Stan Lee regarding Kirby's recognition at Marvel. Kirby left Marvel to work for DC and continued to contribute to most of the heroes we know from that studio today, and deserves all the recognition for the work he did with Lee establishing many of the greats at Marvel. This conflict, however, shouldn't put a stain on the memory of Stan Lee, or the communal mourning we're going through, or his contributions to the industry. He's made undeniable contribution to the work of Marvel, and as one example regarding Spider-Man, Stan had the conceptive idea of a young and ordinary teenage hero. Through collaboration with Steve Ditko and Kirby, Stan was able to create a character for the common kid, and my favorite superhero.
Saved by the siren.
Love seeing you two together again. You always were my favorites.
There were a lot of other disparaging remarks being made on Twitter today as well. People claimed Lee as a sexist, racist, homophobe. Multiple mentions of sexual assault allegations. We investigated all of these allegations as it's important to be harsh on injustice. We found the claims levied against Lee were never actually submitted to any legal or law enforcement organizations. They remain unsubstantiated or supported by the claimants themselves to this day. Only one source, the Daily Mail, was able to provide any context on the claims. The claimant was a former nursing company, and the current company stated that Mr. Lee was an exemplary patient and always had the utmost respect for his nurses. As far as the sexist judgment goes, we didn't find anything besides a Playboy collaboration and a movie Stripperella to even remotely support these claims, and not even those indicate he was a sexist.
As for the most egregious claim, Stan was definitely not a racist. There are tons of diverse characters in Marvel, and Stan is only called a racist because of a statement in which he said he wants Peter Parker to remain a straight white man. At the time he made that statement, there was already a Black Spider-Man comic book featuring Miles Morales as Spider-Man, and Stan even said if Peter Parker was written originally as Black or Latino, he would have approved. So he really didn't say anything racist or negative about Black Spider-Man. We also want to point out to these ignorant people that Stan Lee co-created Black Panther. Whatever contentions there may be, and whatever mistakes Mr. Lee made in his time, he was no villain.
He went well into old age, attending conventions and starring in movies to see fans happy, at an age when most have retired. Stan also started the Stan Lee Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to literacy, education, and the arts, providing people of all ages literacy resources. In one of his last interviews, Stan said he hoped he made everyone happy. It's undeniable the contributions he made to the comic industry, and that the quality of his character was admirable. For this, he will forever hold a place in the hearts of us dear fans and true believers.